Amazon has increased. Literally just a couple of weeks ago, they made an official change to make it, instead of 4 top of search ad placements for standard desktop searches, you will now see all 5 of your top of page placements now are fully reserved for ads.
What do you see is working right now for sponsored ads? Either sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display ads, DSP. What's working right now?
Organic, I'm not going to say is dead, but it's certainly on life support.
Tell us your strategy with brand analytics. Amazon isn't what it used to be. Organic rankings are disappearing. Ad placements are taking over. And if you're not adapting, guess what? You're losing. Today, we're exploring brand analytics, advanced keyword research, and cutting-edge strategies to help you stay ahead in Amazon's ever-evolving search landscape. If you want to win in 2025, this is the episode you can't afford to miss. All right, like I mentioned, today we're talking about cracking that Amazon code, winning with brand analytics, PPC, and new search algorithm. But before we do anything, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up, share out the episode, or on YouTube, ring that bell. Okay, today, our guest is a managing partner at IGPPP. Let's do that. Too many P's. IGPPC at Amazon Focused Ad Agency. Prior to that, he served as head of advertising at Perch. He loves to dive into the weeds of brands to better understand how data can help them win in their markets. And we'll be welcoming Mike Frecke in a second. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. Tired of negative reviews dragging down your star rating and sales? TraceFuse has your back. TraceFuse specializes in removing non-compliant Amazon reviews the right way. I'm talking 100% compliant with Amazon terms of service. And with over 11,000 reviews removed for 400 plus brands, they know what it takes to protect your reputation and boost conversions. And here's the best part. You only pay for performance. That means you only pay for reviews they successfully remove. No contracts, no monthly fees, just results. Plus, as a Lunch with Norm listener, you get 2 reviews removed for free. Ready to clean up your reviews? Visit TraceFuse.ai. That's TraceFuse, TraceFuse.ai. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and let's bring on Mike.
Hey, Norm.
Hey, you. How's it going? We really didn't have a lot of time to chat. You know, it was, we were already 5 minutes late getting logged in. But anyways, it's nice to meet you.
Likewise. It's really nice to be here.
So let's talk about a few different things. First of all, you know, we opened up by saying we're going to be talking about brand analytics or winning with brand analytics. I'm curious about that. Let's start off with that. A lot of our listeners probably aren't really digging into brand analytics the way they should. So tell us a strategy. Tell us your strategy with brand analytics.
Yeah, well, I'll first start by saying I think you're absolutely right. I still have conversations to this day where I'll speak with representatives of different brands and I'll say, hey, how familiar are you with brand analytics? I'll say, oh, I've heard about it. I've poked in there once or twice, but it's not a core part of their strategy or their tracking. So I'm a very big believer in brand analytics as one of the absolute best data sources you can get to understand your placement directly within your market. One of the top tactics I recommend everybody do, especially if you have, call it hero ASINs that you really care about, you want to generate a list. Maybe it could be 10, 15, usually no more than 20 or 25 terms that represent what people who are shopping for your type of product are going to be actually searching. And you want to define those as your market keywords, or at least what I call market keywords. If you are...
Okay, can I interrupt you there for a second? Because again, I'm just thinking about listeners, either beginner listeners or people that just don't know how to even find those keywords. So what's the best way? If I'm trying to think of my audience, and I messed up and I thought I was pretty good with PPC at the beginning when I thought I knew my demographic, and I sell beauty products and soap. And I thought my demographics was women. I was completely wrong
Yeah.
until I did my market research and I found out that it was actually men buying these soap subscriptions for women, and I didn't tackle their mindset. And so as soon as I did that, I started to see completely different results. So I just interested in how you can tell our audience, even our like super experienced guys out there that might be doing it wrong or just not taking advantage of how to do it.
Awesome question. So there's two specific tools I would recommend to people. So again, the question right now is, how do you actually identify what keywords matter for your products? If you have a product that is already selling decently well and you just want to make sure you're understanding where are those sales coming from, I would use a brand analytics search query performance. This is the number one place you'll look. Search query performance gives you a list of, at a brand level, your top 1,000 terms. It'll show you how much you are selling versus how much the market is selling. And
Yep.
at an ASIN level, you can see this, your top 100 terms. So again, the more sales you're doing on a product, by all means, use brand analytics search query performance. That is my personal favorite. Outside of that, I would recommend, if you're still trying to find extra terms that maybe for whatever reason you're not indexing on it and therefore you're not getting good sales right now, go into Product Opportunity Explorer and you're going to just search. You can, if you want, search your ASIN. You can find one of like your top competitors, search their ASIN, and then find out what they're called niches in there, which is a group of terms no more than 25 keywords per. And you just want to see what are the terms that are showing up at the highest volume. But, and this is where I'll transition to things. So that's how you find your starting list of terms. I never just say, oh, whatever the top 25 ranked terms are, that's what I'm going with, and I ignore everything else. There's a certain amount of cleanup you want to do. So first things first, I take out my brand name, I take out my competitor brand names. For the purpose of this exercise, I do not care. I know I'm going to find a lot of search volume, or at least a lot of sales volume associated with people looking on my name. And I'm going to find a lot of market sales associated with people looking for other brand names. Generally speaking, I assume you're already maximizing what you can do on your own name, and you're probably not going to rank all too well organically on a competitor name. So you put those off to the side. From there, you want to start to better identify what are terms and put yourself in the shoes of the customer. If you were doing the search, what kind of product are you trying to buy? A great example, I've worked with one of the number one selling pet brushes on Amazon. The word dog brush, fantastic term for us. That is very indicative of our market. When somebody is searching the word dog brush, we are a good product that they would theoretically want to buy. However, we'll also see a lot of volume associated with pet supplies. Pet supplies could mean anything. Yes, we are sometimes relevant, but we're a lot of times not relevant. I do not want to define my core market with a term where I am tangentially related to it. And so I want to find my top, again, 10 to 25, really aim for no more than 25. Even if they're highly relevant, that's okay, because you're just going to aim for the biggest terms within that top 25. And now you're getting that specific list and you want to track it every single week so you can understand what is your conversion rate doing on this consolidated list? What is the rest of the market conversion rate doing? How are you doing on click share in the market? How are you doing on conversion share in the market? We can talk a little bit about how to actually read those numbers in brand analytics, but the starting point is you need to create that list of terms. If you really want to, download everything, slap it into ChatGPT, say, hey, ChatGPT, tell me what my most important terms are. But realistically, from my perspective, it's worth the half-hour exercise to just clean things up yourself. And again, put yourself in the shoes of your customer and really try to figure out how would they be searching.
Talking about ChatGPT, I was just playing around with it the other day now for social media. So I took my Amazon listing,
Yep.
I downloaded it, and I asked it to compare to three of my competitors. I gave it the competitors, added it, and then it gave me a summary what I needed to improve or beat the competitor. Then I took that information and I asked it to provide me with these different social media accounts targeting different audiences. It did a bang up job. And
Hell,
I'm talking about fairly simple prompts.
yep.
And then I started to get more specific. But I was very surprised at how good it's getting at just ripping apart listings, analyzing them, and then just giving you input that you might not have known. Now, yeah, I remember when I was using ChatGPT just for poems to impress my wife. But but anyways, let's talk about interpreting those numbers in brand analytics. Loving this episode? Sharing is caring. Don't forget to share this episode and give us a review.
First thing, and I always want to give this as a caveat to people because one of the number one questions I get every time I talk about brand analytics is, hey, Mike, the sales numbers I see in brand analytics do not match up one to one with my sales numbers in my actual seller account. What's going on? Is this wrong? It's not wrong, or at least usually speaking, it's not wrong. It's just being attributed differently than where your total sales are being attributed. The number one thing I would think of when you're thinking about brand analytics is that we're only tracking sales associated with when a person goes to Amazon.com, they search a word, and then they click on a product. Anybody who is starting off outside of Amazon, so they did a Google search that led you over to Amazon onto a product page, they clicked in from an affiliate article, we're not going to be able to capture those people. So from there, we're only also tracking people on a 24-hour cookie. So as soon as it's also I believe, session based. So if you close out of Amazon and then go back and start a brand new session, that also is going to break the chain. So there are people who are lost along the way. Now, when people are lost along the way, that is directionally still very safe because it's lost along the way for every single other seller on Amazon. But knowing it's a 24-hour cookie, you think about how many times you've personally shopped on Amazon, added something to your cart, and then gone back the next day to actually purchase. We're not able to track for those people. And so there is a level, if you are a higher price point item, you might be more at risk of those sorts of sales slipping through the cracks and you don't have as good of visibility as if you are more in line with the average selling price of your category. You need to just keep that in mind as you're evaluating this data. You'll compare that to your advertised data that uses generally a 7-day up to a 14-day cookie, where it's going to track any sale anytime somebody clicks on that ad up for the next 7 days, or if you're a vendor on sponsored brands, up to 14 days. You can see already how those are going to be very different numbers. And then when you actually look at your total sales, it doesn't matter when somebody actually engaged with your product originally, because once you see a sale, you are seeing that sale attributed to that specific day. So that's why you'll always have some level of a discrepancy between the data in brand analytics, your ads, and your total sales. Okay, so we've cleaned that up. Now, how am I actually analyzing the numbers? Well, the first thing I'm acknowledging, brand analytics does a really good job of showing me, one, the actual search volume associated with a term. So what someone's typing into Amazon, how many times was that word typed into Amazon and searched over the course of a week, a month, or a quarter. I personally love that. I know there are some other sources that have originally tried to uh, emulate or spoof how that's done. I think right now a lot of those same third-party tools are just directly scraping brand analytics and pulling those numbers in so that they can have it directly. This is my pure source of truth. Then they're going to show you your top main metrics, so impressions, clicks, add to carts, and orders, purchases. And we'll break those out by full market. So how everybody on Amazon using the 24-hour cookie rule, how many clicks were there on that term in all of Amazon across all products. And then there's the your impact of it. How many clicks did your specific ASINs generate, or did your brand generate? What I like about this, and you should keep in mind, is that you are part of that market. So if you want to figure out not just your conversion rate or the market conversion rate, you likely want to use a clean market conversion rate. This is what I love to work with people on. Remove your numbers from the total market so you can understand what's your average click-through rate. You need to calculate it versus the average market click-through rate with you removed. So if you are below that average, you're going to weigh that number down. If you are above that average, you're going to drag it up. So unless you clean up the numbers to remove yourself from the sample size, it's always going to look just a little bit closer than it really should be. And this helps people just, I would say, wrap your mind around how meaningful of a difference you can find between where you are in your market and the everyone else.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. The main metrics that I'll look at from there, I will calculate on my own. Yes, share is always going to matter. So I want to see what is my share of purchases and my share of clicks. I generally don't care all too much about my share of add to carts or my share of impressions. If I'm more in that position of, hey, very high price point, I might shift over from being purchase focused to add to cart focused, because you're going to have less of a discrepancy between somebody waiting to make that purchase on an add to cart basis. So keep that in mind as a workaround. But the number one things for me are, am I generating more clicks than where I would expect the rest of the average market to be? And am I generating more either add to carts or purchases than where I would expect the rest of the market to be? Those are really helpful metrics to know directionally speaking, where if you just say, I'm going to pull this once, just see what my benchmark is, and you never look at it again, you're probably not getting a lot of value out of that. But if, as you are testing out new strategies, either directly on your product detail page, you change your primary image, you change your price, you're running new ad strategies, this is one of the best areas that you can look at to try to better understand what sort of an impact this is having in your placement in the market directionally. Again, I think a lot of people, when they run tests, all they end up looking at is, did I make more sales? Yes or no? And that's a really tough way to live when you're trying to figure out if a test you ran was actually successful. Because sometimes, and I'll say, because I look at this information every single week with all of my clients, sometimes we'll see a 10 to even 20% drop in search volume week over week for our top terms. Yeah, I maybe made less money that week. Does that mean that the test I ran bombed, or does that mean that the market itself saw fewer searches and saw fewer purchases? And actually, the test worked out great. I gained in click share and in purchase share, but I'm using the wrong sort of a benchmark because I'm only looking at my own sales versus my own sales. So that's one of the main ways that I like to analyze the data.
All right, very good. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, 2025, we talk every year we have to talk about this, but what do you see is working right now for sponsored ads? Either like sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display ads, DSP. What's working right now? If I was going to invest a couple of dollars in something, what should that be? Don't forget to subscribe right now and join us every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time for our live recording of the Lunch with Norm podcast. And don't forget that you have a chance to win big with our weekly giveaways.
Ooh, very fun question. So I'll first and foremost say I'm a big basics guy. I think there are certain things that are evergreen on Amazon that, for the time being, it's been almost 10 years and still has not pushed me in the wrong direction. Make sure you have your catch-all campaigns. Make sure you're leveraging sponsored product ads. If you're not trying to use exact match harvesting on the terms that are doing the most volume for you, you are missing an opportunity. So there's a lot of just basics that are still, if you tighten up on them, you make sure that you're not losing any low-hanging fruit, you're going to be really happy. But now, getting past basics, what are some extra things that I've been working on that seems to be working really well? One of the top things that I recommend, sponsored brand video. Again, it's not necessarily new. I have seen some of my clients, in some cases, 5x their volume that they're doing from sponsored brand video year over year. And we've been able to do that at comparable conversion rates and comparable ACoS values to what we're seeing on the sponsored product side. In the past, I didn't necessarily see that that was something that we could make work. Some instances, we've had really, really strong video creative that just helps out our click-through rates, which I think helps us have lower cost per clicks. But even for accounts where we've had, all things considered, say not the best, we'll say not good, but good enough videos, we are still seeing really, really good conversion rates and really strong ACoS values. And I don't believe that sponsored brand video is necessarily going to be great for you from an organic rank perspective. I think that if you are spending dollars in sponsored brand videos, you need to make sure that you're doing so at an efficiency you are comfortable with. And I have found that those ads have started to become really, really scalable. Again, relative to what you might already be doing or relative to what I've seen is possible on the standard sponsored brand non-video side. That's one of the big things. Another area I would push people on, and I know it's tough because everybody loves their API tools and there's no API for this. I use ad rank as one of my inputs in all of my ad optimizations to make sure that I'm not trying to push up my bids when I'm already consistently showing up at the top of page one. So that's a big thing I do. It's, again, you have to manually download it. You can see it at a customer search term level, but I've found
Yep.
that to be game changing for me and just keeping cost per clicks below a crazy ceiling.
Yeah, that's so important. I'm right there with you. So many people just waste so much of their budget when you've already got it. So
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah, I agree 100%. Hey, Amazon sellers, are you leaving money on the table with Amazon? Well, TrueOps is here to help you reclaim every last cent you're owed. Over 1,400 brands have already recouped millions with TrueOps cutting edge technology, finding reimbursements others may have missed. And guess what? You only pay 10% commission, no more overpaying the industry standard of 25%. Plus, the first $1,000 in reimbursements is free to you. Here's the best part: TrueOps doesn't get paid unless you do. If Amazon ever reverses a claim, TrueOps automatically credits your fees back to you. Now that's peace of mind. Remember, $1,000 free reimbursements to start, then just 10% of successfully recovered funds. You have nothing to lose but the 3 minutes it takes to sign up for a free audit and so much more to gain. Sign up with the link in the description and start reclaiming what's rightfully yours. All right, now you piqued my interest when we were talking about ad widgets. Can we talk about that?
So this is an exciting topic, partly from the sense of I'm an ads guy, and so anytime Amazon changes the SERP, that's cool. But also in a kind of scary way as an Amazon customer. So think back long, long, long ago to call it 2022. There were, you do a search on Amazon, and every so often you're going to find Amazon editorials. Here are articles about products that Amazon
Yep.
is recommending. You would find top rated items, best viewed brands, and a lot of these were actually fully organic widgets. You couldn't buy placements into them, and it's entirely just how does Amazon try to show what the truly best products are. Now, fast forward, we're 2025, and almost every single one of those organic widgets is gone and has been replaced with a fully paid widget. On top of that, Amazon has increased, literally just a couple weeks ago, they made an official change to make it, instead of 4 top of search ad placements for standard desktop searches, you will now see all 5 of your top of page placements now are fully reserved for ads. And then you can start to see some organic listings. And then as you scroll down again, you will then see another 5 ad listings. And then potentially you will then see a sponsored brand video immediately afterwards. I have seen fairly normal searches where we start sponsored brand, row of ads, organic, row of ads, sponsored brand video. Organic, I'm not going to say is dead, but it's certainly on life support.
It smells funny. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It certainly smells funny.
It's a tough situation to be in if you're a seller right now, if you are unwilling to make it ads part of your strategy. No, there are things you can do. And I think one of the areas that have just made this even harder is, again, those same rows that used to be additional organic placements. Now you will see sponsored top rated items, sponsored previously viewed items, sponsored similar to these products items. And that's, again, just making it more and more important to know how to advertise. But Norm, I'm going to go on record. I'm going to be the one ads person brave enough to say this. With ads being such a huge focus on Amazon, the number one thing that you need to know is when not to spend money on ads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no,
You nailed it. You nailed it.
I'm the ads person who actually says spend less money, all things considered. Um, this is one of the reasons why I talk about keyword research being such an important aspect of things. And again, why I also say your catch-all campaign is so important, because if you can fall into traffic at some accounts that still actually pull off about 12, 13 cent clicks, and that's phenomenal. In most instances, you're probably talking about your catch-all definition being closer to 40 or 50 cents, and that 40, 50 cents is still a whole lot better for you than the standard dollar, dollar 10, dollar 20 some of you are most likely paying, and some of you, unfortunately, in the much higher range than that. So I want to let myself be open to showing up in the rest of search, but at a discount. All of those new sponsored widgets or returning sponsored widgets that took out your organic placements. So again, those top rated, sponsored, previously viewed, sponsored. Those are all counted as rest of search in your placement definitions. So if you set yourself up with lower bids through your other campaigns, you're likely way too low bid to show up on top of search in most instances. And now you're going to allow yourself to still get people who see, hey, this section looks a little bit different. They're probably engaging still in a slightly different way. And unfortunately, you have no ability to track those individual widgets or target them in specific locations. So that's why I try to aim everything with lower bids. And then for the top of search, where you're really going to hurt if you spend way too much money, I want to make sure I'm only doing this on the terms that I feel I have both one, a right to win, where I love to go into brand analytics, search query performance, and see what is my conversion rate on average versus the rest of market with me removed average. And if I'm losing on those numbers, more often than not, I'm not going to go after that aggressively for top of search. I might still allow myself to spend there in a low bid capacity. Depending on how disparate those numbers are, I might negate everything out fully. If you see good performance, I'm always willing to spend on it, assuming I believe it's incremental. But if it's more questionable, that's where I have to make sure I have that right to win before I'm starting to spend on it. And if I don't, I will turn that off.
Okay. No, very, very good. I mean, there's a lot of information that you're providing, so valuable that you're not hearing, out in the marketplace. This is great. I mean, here's something else. I'm just curious about this. Uh, with all this external traffic that's heading over to Amazon, do you see Amazon prioritizing it, or how does that play into the picture now?
So I still think that Amazon puts some sort of a positive modifier on traffic that originates off of Amazon, at least how it might be influencing your own organic ranks for sure. And I think maybe sales rank. I think Amazon still values non-traditional sales a bit more. That said, I think part of that is under the expectation that the vast majority of off Amazon traffic converts awfully. Your conversion rates are significantly worse than any search that starts natively in Amazon. And so I would evaluate this as Amazon puts a bonus, not because they truly want the off Amazon traffic, which they do, but I think it's also because they understand if people drive a bunch of off Amazon traffic, your PDP conversion rates are going to plummet, and they don't want to penalize you for that.
Okay. All right. Why don't we start with a couple of questions? I see a couple of good ones coming in from Tony.
All right. First one is from Tony. Do those TikTok viral ads work on Amazon PPC, or at the very least, I'm uploading them to the listing so they can get seen at the bottom?
So I have used TikTok ads in my sponsored brand videos. I've done the sort of vertical video ads before. And honestly, I've had awful performance out of them. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it's the TikTok style or if it's just when people are searching the best ads that I've seen for videos on. And again, I'm specifically talking about the ads portion of it and not the videos that you might put directly on your listing. The best performance I've consistently seen have just been standard horizontal videos that are not in that TikTok style. Also, could very well just be a sample size and what type of videos have we been running through. On the other side, like there's probably some selection bias going on in there, but I have seen generally worse performance from the TikTok style ads.
Okay. I do have one more question before we get to Tony's next one. And this is about the SERP reports. So, how can Amazon sellers track and adjust Amazon's SERP reports to protect their organic sales and ad efficiency?
I'm looking at a few different metrics. So one, I always want to be in tune with my percentage of sales coming organically. We had this conversation even maybe a year ago I'm probably saying, oh, you probably don't want more than 35% of your sales coming from ads. I think at this point, some of the best brands I am working with are seeing well over 50% of their sales coming from ads. And these are people who are dominating their category. Like, and it is not even particularly close. And I can say, like, we still, everything we do, we generally have a focus on profitability as well. If we're losing money and it's not worth doing, we're not going to do it for long. So redefining what that successful metric is for percentage of organic sales is a must. In a lot of instances, again, if you don't have that right to win, I would still want to be more organic focused than not, and try to reappropriate what you would have spent on ads over into making your detail page better, making a more competitive product if you need to just be innovating and focusing on getting that next child variant out there. Outside of that, I would still always look at your ranking numbers. So I generally don't look at organic rank nearly as much as I look at my click share metric. To a certain point, I would say organic rank is very vanity based, versus click share tells me exactly how many clicks am I generating out of the rest of the market. Because if I were to give you the option of saying, Norm, you can show up in organic rank 3 and you're going to have a 5% click share, or you can show up with organic rank 7, but you're going to have a 10% click share, and call it profitability numbers, at least profit dollars are going to be fairly comparable. Which outcome would you rather have?
You know what? I'm not good with math. No.
I'll tell you from my perspective,
Yeah, I know.
I'd rather own 10% of the traffic in the market than only 5%
Yeah.
of the traffic in the market.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, all I care about for organic rank is that it gives me a better position to generate clicks. If I have the rank, but I'm not getting the clicks, I do not care what my rank actually is. I only care about traffic.
100%. Yeah, great example.
All right. So from Tony, is everybody using Amazon Attribution if they're bringing outside traffic?
From my perspective, yes and no. So the one area where I would say no on it is I work with a lot of people in trying to find the right affiliate partner for them. In some instances, that's affiliate partners for them. A lot of affiliate traffic themselves still hates to use Amazon Attribution, especially with some of my understanding, some of the changes in the Amazon Associates program. You can no longer double up by putting both an Associates UTM parameter and an Attribution UTM parameter in the same link. And so knowing that there are a lot of associates out there who simply refuse to use the attribution link because every attribution sale that they have takes away from their associate sale. And Amazon is requiring a certain minimum amount of volume to run through the associates program to stay eligible as an associate. So that's the one big area where I would say, if you're working with affiliates, be willing to work with them. Sure, you're not getting the 10% referral bonus back, but if it's the difference between getting certain placements and not getting those placements, I usually would rather just work with the affiliates on their terms. But if you're doing your own things, call it you're running Google ads, you're running Facebook ads, and you want to direct that traffic back, I would always use the attribution link.
Okay, very good. Anything else that you don't think we covered today that you'd like to talk about?
I don't know if it's brand new. Well, one thing that I would recommend just as a general tactic, only about a few weeks ago did Amazon fully remove it from beta and give everybody access to it, and that is B2B placement modifiers. I think this is still early stages enough that a lot of people might not even know that Amazon is doing B2B placement modifiers. So if you're running standard sponsored product ads, take a look, just figure out how much traffic are you actually driving from your B2B placements. What I've seen, Norm, it's kind of insane. Standard campaigns that maybe run like a 25-30% ACOS on the whole, the B2B audience might be generating about a 12 to 15% ACOS. It is almost always insanely more efficient for us. It's also much smaller volume, right? You might be in some instances saying as low as 2% of your sales are running this way. I think the highest I've personally seen is maybe closer to 10 to 20% of sales running from the B2B audiences. But you now have an easy ability to go in and just spend a little bit more on an audience that, generally speaking, converts at either a higher rate or at the very least much larger order sizes for you. So highly recommend people take advantage of that. I still see most of the times when I review, B2B placements are set to 0% across the board. So yeah, take a look at those.
I don't know about you, but 9 out of 10 sellers that I take a look at are not enrolled in the B2B program.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because a lot of sales can be tied up. Not only those one-off sales that instead of getting one sale, you're getting 25 or even 100. I don't get it, but I guess a lot of people just don't know about B2B Central. But it is something to make sure if you're listening and you're not enrolled, just enroll. It's free. It gives you a lot more information, ability to create tiers. Take advantage of it, and especially like you're talking about right now. So that's it for today. Except we want your contact information.
Best way to contact me, I'd say 2 ways. Go to igppc.com. It's 5 letters plus a .com, so hopefully that's easy. There's a great contact form in there. Let us connect. Also, I am very active on LinkedIn. So you can find me at linkedin.com/in/Mike Freaky. Just my name, Mike Freaky. Again, what we do, we're a full service ad agency. We focus on Amazon sellers. We're always trying to do right by our clients. That's our number one promise to you, is we'll always try to put your needs first and do as best we can for you.
Start, scale, exit, repeat. I'm Colin C. Campbell, and I've started over a dozen multi-million-dollar companies in the last 30 years. I spent the last 10 years writing the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, to figure out what it is that these serial entrepreneurs do over and over again. We interviewed over 200 people. We created 58 chapters, over 30 illustrations, 180 callouts, and we quite frankly made this book for the ADHD entrepreneur. It's been #1 on Amazon in 15 categories and has won 12 awards globally. Get your book today, either on ebook, paperback, hardcover, or Audible on Amazon or your favorite bookstore.
All right, Mike. Well, thanks a lot for coming onto the podcast today. You dropped a lot of information that's probably new to a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Norm. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
And I think that's it for today's episode. We did push out the newsletter this Monday, so we got a new story there. So you can go to lwn.news. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Lunch with